The rocky Northumberland coastline is a wild and windswept place and home to some hidden gems. Its rugged landscape is steeped in history, with more castles than anywhere else in the country. Fought over by the Scots, the English and the Vikings, these shores have seen more than their fair share of invaders. But there is one visitor who has been coming here for centuries, not to invade, but to spend the summer as welcome guests. The Arctic tern. These elegant birds arrive in their thousands to soak up the sun on Castle Coast. Bamburgh Castle sits above one of the most beautiful coastlines in Britain, and a little way down the shore are a series of sand dunes that are a haven for wildlife. Over 1,500 Arctic terns come here each year, and they're here for one reason: to breed. But after spending the last 3 months flying here from Antarctica, 11,000 miles away, they're exhausted and hungry, so the first thing to do is feed. Fortunately for terns, the surrounding seas are like a huge fish takeaway. Male terns take the finest sand eels back to the beach. For Arctic terns, it's fish, not flowers, that are offered as tokens of love. All over the dunes, it's "Hi honey, I'm home." These pairs might not have seen each other since last year. Sometimes she's having none of it, but sometimes it's a welcome reunion. Their partnership is sealed with a fish. Now they're all paired up. It's time for the serious business of breeding. The terns are all turned on. The beach is full of courting birds. Now it's time to set up home. The nest is nothing more than a shallow scrape in the sand. And sometimes there can be a bit of a flap over the residences with the best sea views. This formerly quiet beach is now a noisy colony. A little way up Castle Coast are the 28 Farne Islands, although at high tide, almost half of them are underwater. They're famed for their seabird population, and are also home to around 4,000 grey seals, one of Britain's biggest predators. There are terns here too, along with puffins and families of eider ducks. Back at the beach, males and females take turns to incubate the eggs. The young chick's arrival should coincide with warmer weather and an abundance of food. 23 days after being laid, something is stirring. Sand eels are a calorie-rich food and the perfect size meal for a hungry chick. These tiny bundles of feathers are totally dependent on their parents, yet within the first week are starting to explore. But the North Sea can be a fickle mistress. Tempests and high tides can devastate the beaches. Every year, the colony can lose many of its chicks to storms and predators. But the survivors are growing fast, building up fat reserves for their long journey south. The older chicks are already down on the beach, exercising their flight muscles and getting their new flight feathers in tip-top condition. By the end of July, the terns are all on the beach, stomachs full and feathers primed, about to undertake the furthest migration on Earth. Their departure will be a memorable sight. At some unknown signal, the whole colony falls quiet. And moments later, they're off. Fleeing the approach of the British autumn, flying south to the Antarctic summer, Arctic terns see more sunlight than any other animal. But they will return here again to breed. And Castle Coast will welcome back the bird that chases summer.
From the relative calm of wildlife to the clash of personalities, it's a real challenge persuading boys to sing. The Choir, the brand new series, next on BBC Two.